Hey everybody, Kenny Wisdom here, bringing you another standard tournament on Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. This time we're going to be playing Metal Rayquaza. As you can see, Mega Rayquaza-EX, pretty big force in the metagame ever since it was released. Its trade allows you to evolve on the first turn, and then its Emerald Break attack lets you do 30 damage times the number of your benched Pokemon. And that number can be pretty high once you start to consider things like Skyfield, letting you have 8 Pokemon on your bench. And so yeah, we're looking at Rayquaza, and it was the most hyped card coming out of Roaring Skies, I think. And since then, I don't think it's been quite as good as everyone says. I think that ends up happening a lot where the most hyped card isn't necessarily everywhere. But I think since the format has been able to grow a little bit, it has gotten seen quite a lot of play. And I personally think that it's very good. It's a very good choice for Nationals. This deck is one of the ones I would be considering for Nationals. Um, in the US. I'm not sure how it performed at Canadian Nationals, but I know some metal decks did perform well. Don't have that information on hand though. And so yeah, I think this is maybe the best way to play Rayquaza, and that's because you have this guy, Bronzong. As you can see, its Metal Link's ability allows you to attach a metal energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. And what's so strong about this is that, the Rayquaza deck, how it works is that you go kind of all out. You're playing all these Shamans, you're playing things like Trainer's Mail, you're playing DCEs, and you're hoping to get the turn 2 Emerald Break, or turn 1 if you're going first. And what can happen though is you get that, but you've expended a lot of resources, especially since trump cards have been banned. Sometimes what happens is you get that, and awesome, and you take 2 or 3 prizes, but then they knock out your Rayquaza and you can't come back. But what Bronzong does for us is it allows us to start powering up Rayquazas or other attackers on the bench. So, if you can imagine that you attack on you go second, you attack on turn 1 with Emerald Break, and then over the next 2 or 3 turns, you're going to be Metal Linksing and building up another Rayquaza, or even one of our secondary attackers start attacking. And let's talk about those for a second. Secondary attackers are Cobalion-EX, mainly for his Righteous Edge ability or attack, although Steel Bullet is very good as well. Just a really efficient attacker, either destroying special energies like DCEs from your opponent's Pokemon, or just 100 and getting through anything like Sigilyph or Suicune. And then we have Aegis/EX, which I actually think is better than Cobalion, but I still think Cobalion is probably necessary. Its ability, Mighty Shield, just turns off all damage done to it by Pokemon with special energy on it. And then Slash Blast is one of the reasons I think it might be maybe the best attacker in the deck, even more so than Rayquaza in the right situations, is because, you set up a big Rayquaza and you can stall for a while. You can easily get 4 or 5 energy on with Slash Blast, which is just huge. Mighty Shield shuts down a lot of stuff. Just incredible attacker. And looking over the rest of the deck, we have an Execute just to be able to Ultra Ball and Battle Compressor. We have 3 Shamans. Some lists I've seen play 4, but I think 4 might be a little bit much. We have a Keldeo-EX just to be able to rush in. 2 Float Stones to be able to rush in and also place early on Bronzongs or other cards that we start with. 3 Spirit Links to power the Rayquaza. Pretty normal set of supporters, I think. Don't think anything's crazy there. Computer Search is our A-Spec. 6 metal for DCE, which I think is the right number, although I would love to add another metal, but I'm not sure where I make that cut. And then a 3/3 line of Rayquaza itself. So that's the deck. Not sure the list is perfect, but I have done some testing with it, and I think it's close to where I want it to be at the very least. And we're going to hop into an 8-player standard tournament, so I'll see you in just a minute for round 1. Hey guys, Kenny Wisdom back for round 1 of the standard tournament. Looks like we're going to go second. And we're going to take a mulligan. So this hand, because of the Spirit Link and the metal, just tells our opponent what we're playing. Ooh, and they are going to mulligan as well. Fiery Torch. Interesting. Okay. So 2 mulligans, and we're going to take a second, unfortunately. And this time, because we're going second, and we have a Keldeo, I'm fine just starting with Rayquaza. I'm going to put down the Bronzor, but I don't actually think I put down the Keldeo. I just use it as a reason why I wanted to start with Rayquaza, but I don't think I actually want to put it on my bench unnecessarily, just in case it gets Lysandered up or something. I don't think I do. As long as we don't get end, we can always make the decision later to Pyroar. Okay, so Pyroar is actually fine. What some players have forgotten is that the Megas, even though they're EXs, are evolutions. So Pyroar, as long as we can get a reasonable start, shouldn't do too much to us. There's a Bronzor. It's possible I just should have not played the Bronzor either, but because of the fact that unless our opponent has a... sorry, I guess I shouldn't have played the Bronzor, but I was more afraid of our opponent having an N, and Bronzor is so important, so... let's go ahead. Let's... attach. So yeah, gonna go ahead and attach. I will just play the Keldeo now. Skyfield and Juniper. We can go ahead and evolve as it won't end our turn. And I wish that I could find another Ultra Ball, or sorry, I wish I could find another Bronzor. Don't particularly want to play my Cobalion with a Pyroar out. And I think I will just rush in. I would rather be stuck for a turn or have to find a Float Stone next turn than have my Bronzor knocked out at this stage. There's a Blacksmith. It's possible... Okay, they're going to get the Lysander for the Bronzor anyway. It's possible that oh, I guess I just have the Lysander for later. Alright, so... I think I'm just going to go ahead. They're at 2 cards. I have a Lysander in hand. I think I just try and find a Juniper for Floatstone. Or I think I just Juniper, try and find a Floatstone DCE here. Can't really afford the Collars for 3 and don't want to end my opponent's hand. Don't need to attach anything. I don't really want to play the Cobalion. So yeah, let's go ahead and Juniper. There's the Floatstone. There's that. There's the DCE. 110 hit points. Let's play the egg. Retreat. And Emerald Break for the knockout. And our opponent does have that Lysander, but they don't have anything here. That won't matter anyways. And hopefully this will be a pretty easy matchup for us. Yeah, so that's going to be it. We're just going to have to rush in, retreat, and Emerald Break. So not too much of a game there. Opponent really didn't have anything, but I don't think the matchup is very good for them anyways. As long as we can... Ooh, tournament ticket, awesome. As long as we can kind of get our objective out, which is just an early Rayquaza, and they don't just roll over us early, they can't really do much. Especially this deck looked to be pretty aggressively just Pyroar, like maybe even just quad Pyroar or something. So we should just run over that deck anyway, so not exactly a great match to watch, but pretty indicative of how the matchup should work. I mean, it could have lasted 5 or 6 more turns of us just attacking and, you know, them having maybe a little bit more of an offense, stalling with some Lysanders, but I don't think that they have many options against us. So that was round 1, and I'll see you back for round 2. Hey guys, we're back for round 2. Tails never fails. Where are we going first? Against Coherent. Ooh, lots of full arts. But this doesn't tell us... Okay, the Fighting Stadium and the Fighting Energy do tell us a lot. We're playing some sort of fighting deck. Not sure what would actually be most popular. Dawn Fan comes to mind, but Lucario, Landorus, Crobat stuff is also very popular. Regardless, we only have 1 starter, so we're going to go ahead and take our mulligan draw. Alright, opponent opens Zubat, so I'm assuming they're playing Lucario stuff. I'm going to go ahead and attach the Float Stone here. And let's see, so I can... Don't necessarily... I can Battle Compressor for an egg, and then Ultra Ball away 2 things. It still doesn't leave me the ability to get a Rayquaza, Spirit Link, and play it though. So I guess we will... Let's Battle Compressor first. Let's throw this in there. Let's throw the Colress in there. I don't actually like throwing too many Metal Energy in just because you often won't get the Bronzong out, or at least out in time, and so you do want to draw the energy. And then I will discard... Whoops. Need to propagate first. And I guess I'll discard, like... If I discard the Computer Search or Telegraph, so we have a Juniper in our hand. If we discard the Skyfield, that's a theoretical, more important card. Let's just discard this Skyfield. We can always use a Computer Search next turn with whatever we draw. Oh, I should have rushed in. That was terrible. Okay, that's fine. So not rushing in was a mistake, but not having energy there was sort of bad for us. But I feel like we just want to kind of get the Rayquaza on the board. Might not have been the correct play. Another way to take that is to just fire off the Juniper and then hope you hit your other pieces. You're only discarding one Mega Rayquaza. And that way you can draw into Shaymins and things, whereas now we're kind of hoping that we draw into it all next turn. But I do find value in putting the Rayquaza on the board in the first place. We just need to have our opponent not have any kind of damage booster. If the Bronzor does get knocked out, we are much less likely to win this game. However, I think we can still battle through it. Miltank, interesting. And there's an N. So N is fine. It gives us another Rayquaza to play, a DCE, and then we can just actually attach a Floatstone to this Bronzor if it lives, so, you know, that's fine. Repeat Ball, getting another Zubat. Pretty good start from our opponent. Looks like they won't be able to... Ooh, well, there's a Shaman. I was going to say looks like they didn't find the Muscle Band to knock us out, but there's the Shaman. So, oh, they didn't. Awesome. Alright, so that's really good for us. We can go ahead and drop this like this. Attach here. And then we do have the metal in there. Let's go ahead and propagate. And then discard. Like this. We can just attach the Floatstone to the Bronzor. That's fine too. Play it. And then Juniper. Awesome. So there's a Spirit Link, so don't worry about that. Let's play another Bronzor. Do have to be careful about our Bronzors and Bronzongs with all these bats. So if we can Metal Links the Rayquaza, we're going to need the full 8 to knock out here. So we have 5, and we can find a 6th off the Ultra Ball, but we'll also need the Skyfield. So let's go ahead and Trainer's Mail, hit the Skyfield. That's pretty nice. Let's bump that out of the way. Let's remember to Metal Links. And then let's propagation rather, Ultra Ball it away and get a Shaman. I guess we could propagation away. We could propagation computer search for another basic. 4, 5. That would give us 7 guaranteed. That's probably fine. What's gonna be good versus them? I guess Aegislash just might be our best option. Alright, so there's the knockout with 6. So now, do we fire off the trainer's mail? I don't think so. Let's just go ahead and retreat. And Emerald Break. So next turn we have the next Bronzong evolution. We do have to be careful, like I said, having Shamans and Bronzongs out versus Bats and Holuchas isn't the greatest thing, but I feel like we're going to be okay. We'll see how things go. Obviously, they can go kind of crazy with Bats, but we'll see. They have attached to the Holucha, so they're kind of committing to that for now. This big Colorus, I love Colorusing for big numbers in general, but especially when playing Bats decks, it just feels like there are just some games where you just feel like you can't lose. You know, double Golbat, super scoop it up, play another Golbat. Next turn, you can play 2 Crobats, super scoop one up. Just insanity. Miltank's an interesting addition to this deck. I haven't seen many lists with Miltank, but it makes sense. I mean, if you have the Crobat up, you're doing 70, Muscle Band does 90. Seems pretty reasonable. Opponent's going to go ahead and put the damage here. That's fine. We have the second Rayquaza set up, so they're definitely not going to be able to knock us out before we can set it up fully. Being able to hit us with Holucha here is pretty good. Again, not going to be able to knock us out, but making us take prizes off these little guys is pretty big. And then it's Metal Links, the last one we have in there. Right here. We'll attach right there. And so we have 100 damage, so if they go 120, 40, 60, 190, if they have the full bat set up. So I guess we'll just rush in, retreat, and keep them guessing. Although I guess that could actually be wrong, because maybe if they're going to put all their damage like that, we want them to knock us out. And we could end our opponent down. That actually seems fine. This is going to be the time when our end is the best for us, and not the worst for them, but gives them 2 fewer cards. Take the knockout there. And we'll see what happens. I think this turn is probably going to be pretty big for them, with being able to see what bats they get and then also rebuilding attackers. They do have open bench slots because of Skyfield for more Shamans, and they do have a lot of bats on board. They do a lot of damage, so I think that this turn will probably be pretty indicative of how the rest of the game will go. I think that we're pretty advantaged here. It takes a lot for them to knock out our active Rayquaza, and then we even have the one on the bench that takes a lot for them to knock out as well, and they definitely can't do both. And they're going to hit us with a Holucha again, which is fine because it puts us in a position where we can knock it out, go down to 2 prizes, and then Lysander up the Shaman. I mean, obviously, we'd rather just take the 2 prizes now, but if they're not actually getting knockouts on us, that's fine. Take a look at the discard pile. We don't have the Lysanders in there now, so this Versus Seeker is not going to help us out, but we still have at least one more turn before we need to do that anyway. Alright. Seeing the first bat hit the board. And there's the Crobat. So now we're at 50. So we'll go up to 130. And I think I haven't played this matchup, but at least all that much, but I do think our opponent has the option of using his bats to try and knock out shamans. But I do think with something like this, they probably would prefer to just hit our Rayquazas because the shamans are just always going to be there, and they do need to actually start hitting things, I think, and actually start trying to knock things out. I'm not, again, I would need more experience, especially playing their side of the matchup to know that, but I think that's kind of where I'd want to be. So we're at 70 currently, and they don't have the other. They have a Crobat in their hand, but they couldn't evolve. All right. I think so they do have the other Crobat in their hand. I don't think we care about Ultra Balling for anything in particular, so let's just go ahead and Juniper. Attach a Metal to the Aegislash. Trainer's Mail missing is fine. Can play that Rayquaza down. Maybe I should have attached a Metal to that, but I think we're mostly on the Aegislash plan now. And I think here it's right to rush in retreat. Actually, No, let's just go ahead and attack. They'll have to do a pretty reasonable amount of work to knock us out. Shaman was a pretty nice draw there. If our Skyfield stays, we can use it to draw some cards. Maybe draw into that Lysander. And they're trading. I mean, they haven't been trading one for one because I think we've taken 2 prizes now. They're about to be 2 prizes. So it hasn't been exactly trading, but hitting with these non-EXs has been pretty big. Hoping we draw an Ultra Ball or something next turn. 1, 2. No, all the Ultra Balls gone, but we still have a Compressor left. Just something to let us be able to Lysander instead of having to Juniper. And there's a big Colors from our opponent again. Drawing 12 cards. Doing a lot of damage here. I think I would have liked to seen our opponent actually use the 2 bats plus the Golbat to knock out our active and then be able to hit our benched Rayquaza, but I know that they didn't have the Golbat unless until they Colors, so it was kind of a risk. Yeah, promoting like this is fine. DCE is very good. Let's go ahead and attach here. Metal links like this. No Lysander here. Correct. Go ahead and Shaman. Just for metals. So they are 40 away from knocking this Rayquaza out, which is just a bat, a Golbat and a Crobat. So the question here is whether I promote the Rayquaza and accept that it will get knocked. It would likely get knocked out next turn, but especially will get knocked out by any attack, or promote the Aegislash and say, hey, you can knock out my Rayquaza, but you're probably not going to be doing much to my active. I think I would rather just go in to Rayquaza. Alright, so there's a Lysander. We're almost assuredly going to get End here, but we do the Lysander back in our deck at least. Yeah, so they can attach and knock us out with Crobat's attack. Or they can knock us out by a Crobat. And oh, they actually can, sorry. Yeah, they would need 10 more damage. They need a Golbat and an attack to knock us out here. And they have a bunch of cards in hand, so should be able to do it. Yeah, so there's the Crobat. That can knock us out. They can also do something like, if they can possibly get 2 Crobats this turn, but I don't think they can. Yeah, okay. I don't actually think they can, so I don't think they can manipulate damage much more than just knocking us out here. They would love to be able to Golbat us, though, to knock out and then be able to actually attack something else and get more damage. But we'll see. If they don't do something tricky here, we can do a total of 140 with the Aegislash. Because we can, if they knock out the Rayquaza, we'll have one in the discard pile, we have one in our hand to attach. We can promote the Keldeo, of course. And there's a Landorus, and they won't attack with Landorus, that's fine. We just have the Lysander for Shaman. Not much they can do to prevent that except for N. Yeah, so it looks like they're going to go ahead and Golbat us out. And I'm fine with promoting Aegislash. Yeah, I think that's fine. We have the Lysander, like, rush and attach either way. Been actually a pretty close game, though. We got ahead pretty early, but they had to rebuild. But they did. They had, you know, a lot of non-EX attackers to hit us with, and a lot of tricks with Crobats. But I don't think it's going to be enough, unless I'm missing something. So Silent Lab, that's fine. We'll discard a Shaman. If we get End here, it'll hurt. We could potentially lose. We have to draw the Skyfield to bump the Silent Lab so we can actually rush in, as well as the Lysander. Ooh, and there's the Lysander. That doesn't actually matter at all, but our opponent's just trying to keep us off of having not having a metal in hand, I guess. So we'll just attach Metal Links, Skyfield, rush in, retreat, Lysander, and attack for the knockout. So pretty close game. If our opponent had an End there, we'd be in a pretty bad position, but they didn't, and we were able to stabilize and win the game, but they actually put up a quite a good fight. So we'll see you guys in the finals. Hey guys, welcome back to the finals versus Lena G7. Tails never fails, but we will be going second this game. We're going to take a mulligan and then start with a not great starter. But we have a trainer's mail, we have an N, we have things we can do to figure this out. Suicune, Keldeo, interesting. Okay, so that open tells us that our opponent's probably playing Kyogre. Okay, or they're playing Blastoise. So dive ball for a Squirtle tells us definitely Blastoise. And we do have our out to safeguard is this Berry Cobalion with Steel Bullet. Oh, they're going to Wally Blastoise next turn. Alright, so let's play a Trainer's Mail, see what we can find. I'm going to N instead of Colress, and I don't have the Rayquaza yet, so I'll just take the Compressor, go ahead and play that, discard Egg, Metal Energy, and I'll take a Lysander because I have the N and Colress in my hand. And play the Sky Field. I'm fine attaching like this, going up to 6. You propagate like this, finding a basic Rayquaza, attaching, spirit linking, and ending. Get a Bronzor. Doesn't do anything. So I end there, even though our opponent had fewer than 6 cards in hand, but they did have the Wally into what I assume was the Blastoise, so I figured it was fine to give them a few extra cards to theoretically prevent that from happening. We'll see what happens here. They're going to attack us. Fan Club. Alright, so we're going to hopefully prioritize knocking out the War Turtle. That doesn't actually think it'll happen, because probably going to have the Juniper. Juniper discarding 2 versus Seekers is not a great feeling. But I think, actually, let's just go ahead and versus Seeker for Colress. That saves us a lot of resources. Don't think I want to propagate, though. There's a Bronzor. Wish we had a way to retreat, but we don't. We also don't have an energy to attach, which is pretty unfortunate, as this is our only out to safeguarding, I think. Although, of course, we can do a hammer in for 60 with Bronzong. But yeah, no other options, so let's just attack and knock off that DCE and see what happens. Our opponent didn't play supporter last turn. Oh, well, there's a versus Seeker, so. Well, versus Seeker Skyla is still not exactly. I assume they'll get a Blastoise here, or like an Ultra Ball for a Blastoise, but it's not going to be drawing a whole ton of cards, so maybe they will fumble a bit. I'm also fine, so say they do just Skylift or Ultra Ball and get a Blastoise, or even Skylift for a supporter and then get a Blastoise, or Wally, okay. I am fine with, if we top deck, let's say a float stone, I'm fine with just Lysandering up the Blastoise and knocking it out. I would have to also get another energy though to be able to do that, which would be unfortunate. So there's a Colress. Spirit Link doesn't do anything. Can't Lysander like we talked about because I still need another energy. But we will go ahead and Metal Links. And then we'll Colress. No reason to waste those resources. And we can actually do this. We can go ahead, propagate, computer search like this. If our Keldeo is not prized, I didn't actually check. It is prized. Interesting. Okay, so that changes things a bit, but I guess let's get another Rayquaza. Yeah, let's just get another Rayquaza. Drop it on the bench, drop a Bronzor. Let's retreat to that Bronzor. Metal Links here. Attach here, and our opponent is most likely using Wally to Blastoise next turn, so we'll just pass the turn back. Cobalion having damage on it isn't great, but if our opponent can't knock it out, we will be able to deal with at least one Safeguarder. Yeah, let's just promote like this. VS Seeker for Colress. Let's just Colress for 9. Actually, let's propagate. Let's just, yeah, propagation and then Colress. So then we do have the knockout if we have the energy. There's a Spirit Link, Evolution, 6. There's the energy we need. Don't feel like we need a third Rayquaza. Don't particularly want to play any of this other stuff. There's no metal in the discard. So yeah, let's just go ahead and Emerald Break. And hopefully this is the point where our opponent stumbles here. They haven't been playing much. I know that's because they're holding a supporter. I just wanted to get the Blastoise online, but we'll see. Professor's Letter is fine. If they want to attack us with another Keldeo, I'm happy to knock it out and go into 2. If they want to go in with a Suicune, we can at least knock one of them out. And then with Cobalion, and then there will be at least 3 prizes on board at all times to Lysander into. With Keldeo and Blastoise, yeah. Here's a big caller, so they were just sandbagging the supporter most likely, which was pretty smart. They may have played a little bit, they may have wasted a little bit too much time, but it is what it is. And this turn, I'm just going to go ahead and Lysander the Blastoise, I think. Because I'm going to have an uneven prize exchange anyway. And I'm fine with not playing anything. Yeah, let's just go ahead and Take the knockout. Drawing energy would be nice. At some point, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 on board, and the rest are in our prizes or hand. So that's most of them. So we can't ask for too much, but those would be nice to draw off the prizes or just top deck. And then from here, they're gonna hit us again. I will then retreat. Here. Metal links the energy onto the new guy. And then take the knockout. And there's a DZ, which was a perfect draw off the prizes and guarantees us the win, assuming that we don't get end or the board doesn't change dramatically. Because we have Skyfield in hand. If anything happens to that, we have a bunch of basic Pokemon we can play to power up the Skyfield. There's an end, so let's see what happens. Alright, so that does change things, but our opponent doesn't knock us out, so we just retreat. 3, 6, 9, 12, yeah. So let's go ahead and retreat into this Rayquaza. And attack for game. So 3 pretty easy games. I think it does show the power of the deck. Our opponents didn't get perfect draws, but neither did we. I personally really like the deck. I have always liked energy acceleration in the form of things like Bronzong or Electric. And I've also always really liked Rayquaza, and just that it's kind of fast and aggressive. But it's, the things that I haven't liked about Bronzong is that they're not fast enough. And the things I haven't liked about Rayquaza is that it can peter out after the first few turns. So I feel like this deck gives a good middle ground between the two. We do have the speed of Rayquaza mixed with the backup of Bronzong, mixed with the kind of late game power of cards like Aegislash, and Cobalion in that match, as you saw, really helped us out. So I personally like the deck. Not 100% on the list yet. There's probably anywhere from 5 or 10 cards that you could change out depending on what you expect to see at Nationals. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoy playing the deck. I think it's a good choice for Nationals. And let me know what you think of the deck in the comments. Thanks for watching.